everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hopefully everyone is doing really well today. Today I would like to do a video on these guys that I have right here, and this is the Gasteria little Warty. I purchased these at Walmart, and believe it or not, all of these little guys were $3.73, which was a steal because most places that you see these guys, they're either very expensive or very small or a combination of both. So when I saw these guys, I was like, yep. And they actually had a lot of them. Now, where they were out on a display in the back of the Walmart, getting full sun, no shade, and as most of you know, Gasteria are generally thought of as low light plants. They don't really like a lot of sunlight. You know, they can take, you know, some bright indirect sunlight, but these guys seem to be doing pretty fine. There was no damage other than being a little bit thirsty, which was cured when I repotted them and I gave them a nice drink. The leaves are beautiful. There's no damage to any of the leaves. They're nice and thick, and that's the characteristic of a succulent. If you don't know much about Gasteria, here's a little bit of information. If you're going to have a Gasteria, you want to make sure that, or any succulent or cactus, you want to make sure that you're careful not to overwater them. The fact that when I purchased them they were dry was actually not a bad thing at all, because these guys can go a pretty long time without having a lot of water, which makes them a great plant for indoors or people that are not really good with keeping up with high maintenance plants, or people that travel a lot, or you know, someone who may be elderly, or someone who has an office, different things like that, because they don't require a lot of care once they're potted. And if you pot them properly, they don't require a lot of care because they don't require a lot of watering, a lot of fertilizing, and different things like that, or pruning or anything like that. So you want to make sure that you give it a fast draining soil. I just used the Miracle-Gro potting mix, like I cactus and palm potting mix, like I always use. You can also add in a little extra perlite or potting sand if you want. Do like a half and half, or a 1/3 to 1/3 part to every 2/3 of soil that you use. Or you can just use the potting mix straight, like I do. And I picked a nice and appropriate size pot, because I originally had put it in one of the smaller ceramic or smaller terracotta pots that I normally get, and it just wasn't, it looked like they were stuffed in there, and they were very uncomfortable. And I thought, in terms of growing, I didn't want these guys to start, you know, becoming root bound and it's starting to cause, you know, any damage. And one thing about Gasteria is you want to be careful of these tips. These tips will poke each other and cause dark spots and different things, which is no problem. It's not going to harm your plant or kill it in any way, but it can be, you know, it can take away from the aesthetics of, you know, such a beautiful plant. So you want to make sure that you give them plenty of room to grow, and plenty of room for these leaves here to, you know, grow out and not run into the other guy, because as you can see right here on the tip, it is sharp. It's a little sharp point. See, there's a little sharp point that would poke another leaf, like right here. These guys are eventually, at some point, it's going to poke it, and it may cause it a little bit of a dark spot. Now, as far as reproducing, these guys are mounding plants, meaning that as they get mature enough to start putting off pups or offsets, or babies as some people call them, it'll start to grow down here at the bases. You'll see a little miniature of this plant start to sprout up. Like a good example that I have is my Haworthia. Some call them pearl drops, some call them Haworthia cone color. And you see these little guys down here at the bottom. That's a good example of a mounding plant, which means that from the base of it, it'll start to mound up and grow smaller versions of itself. And you can see there's another one coming right here, and that one's a little bit bigger than that one. So that's what you have. So back over here to this guy. that's what will eventually happen to these guys. And they're pretty large. Like I said, they're larger than most of the other specimens that I see. So they should be starting to put off offsets pretty soon. I think we've covered the watering, we've covered the soil. Want to make sure that you give them enough space, Gasteria in particular, because you don't want the tips to start poking each other. And you want to make sure that you give it either low to indirect sunlight, not anything too extreme. They're not going to burn or anything, but I'm kind of a little bit afraid of what'll happen if you give it prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. If you guys have any experience with that, please leave a comment. Let me know. Will it harm them? Will they be fine? I'm curious to know, because I only actually have 2 other types of Gasteria, and I usually keep them in medium to filtered sunlight. So if you guys have any other helpful tips, any other helpful hints, please comment down below. If there's any questions, anything I was unable to answer, any information I was unable to give you, please feel free to ask, and I'll do my best to do the research to find out. And I will keep you guys updated on this beauty, and I will let you know if anything changes. Oh, and another thing is, from what I understand, Gasteria do send up flower stalks. So if I happen to get one this season, which is pretty late, it's already July, if I happen to get one, I'll be more than happy to do an update and show you guys what they look like, tell you what conditions I've been keeping it under to cause it to flower. If you guys know any tips, please let me know. Thank you for watching, and have a safe holiday weekend.